for praying and supporting the Christian persecuted in the Middle East and all over the world. It all started 3 years ago when ISIS, Daesh, invaded the city of Mosul, which was one of the biggest cities in Iraq, and where we have a very, very historical presence in that city. Some of the monasteries goes back to the 5th and 4th century. We have been there in Mosul for a long time. So they invaded the city of Mosul, and they have asked the Christian community. They put 3 conditions for the Christian community: convert to Islam, or paying jizya, which is taxation, which means enslavement in that sense, or leave the city with nothing. And our people have decided to leave the city with really taking only few of the identity cards and papers that they have, and money that they left, but then they found there were checkpoints waiting for them to take also all of these papers and money that they have and send them away with nothing. They came to Erbil in June 2014, and they stayed in the city of Ankawa, and some of them went to the city of Vaughan, which is up to the north. The threat of Daesh continued and went to the north and east part of Mosul, where we have 9 villages, very old ones: Qarakosh, Karamles, Al-Bartilla, Batnaya, Bakofat, Al-Lusqof. All of these villages goes to, I would say, to the 3rd and 4th century. And like when we speak of Karamles, we have to think of a village which was even established before Christ, but then converted to Christianity. And with the same 3 conditions: Islam, enslavement, jizya, and sword, facing the sword. And the Christians, again, in the night of the 7th to 8th of August 2014, they left the city walking 16 hours, 17 hours, 20 hours to reach the cathedral where we live. It was a matter of 2 hours when the whole cathedral was filled with 4,000 of these refugees, and then I had to open another shrines of Mar Elia and Mar Tushmoni. All churches were open for them to stay over the night. Some of them, they didn't find a place where they could, then they stayed in the gardens and the streets. It was really big disaster for the Christian community. Almost 125,000 Christians were forced to leave their homes and properties and stay in streets and gardens. We closed the cathedral for celebration, because I've told the parishioners this would be our Mass, to serve those people and to be with them in this crisis. People have responded really with gracious and very generous in the way that they supported. The hosting community were very supportive until Aid to the Church in Need came, and other Catholic aid agencies were there in Erbil to see themselves the situation, and they responded immediately in helping us finding housing and shelter for those community. We were able to establish 26 camps for the Christians in Erbil. When we say camps, means public schools. 11 public schools were occupied by those refugees, unfinished buildings, churches and shrines, so to accommodate all of them. And then we started, because we were receiving always news that our churches in Nineveh Plain were looted, burned, some of the houses were destroyed, in a sense that people were sending messages that you are not welcomed anymore in Mosul. You cannot go back to your villages. So we had to really think how we could really accommodate those people and try not to make them feel that they are in total lost. So we also, again, with the help of the Church in Need, which I'm sure they depended also on you in supporting them and supporting us by your prayers and awareness, and even by your generous donations, we were able to build 14 schools. So all our children were in schools, in a proper schools, and establishing also 2 clinics, establishing also a program where we could really provide food for 12,000 families. And at the same time, we start thinking seriously of moving those families to proper houses. And today we have 1,200 houses rented by the church, and we don't have any Christian community, any Christian family living in a tent or in an unfinished building or in the garden. This was gone 2 years and a half, and that's because of the help that we have received. To tell you also some good news that despite all of the difficulties that the people have faced, and some of them really have walked all the way to Erbil, and when they have reached the cathedral, they were really tired and exhausted. Some of them were angry and were asking what we have done to face all of this persecution. Where is God? He's not seeing that we are suffering. So many of them were really asking these questions because they knew that they were persecuted because of Christ. They were persecuted because they were Christians. And when Jesus told us that do not be afraid, you will be giving words to answer in a difficult time and a persecuted time, we have experienced this, because we told the people, God have never left you. God is suffering with you. God is walking with you all the way. And so please, let us help you and let us serve you, because in serving you, we are serving God. It's not that you are being left, you are not forgotten at all. There are so many people, and I'm sure you prayed for the Christian persecuted. There are so many people who are praying for you and who are also telling your story, who are also advocating your story. So you are not forgotten, persecuted but not forgotten. And this have strengthened them. And I am also proud of my priest and the sisters who never left the community, and they were with them, and some of them slept with them in these camps of refugees, and tried always to strengthen their faith. And we had pastoral and spiritual events every 3-4 days coming from the camps, and we were really strengthened by the faith that our community have shown, even when the time of persecution. Schools were opened, and we are proud of our students that some of them got the highest degree in the final exam of the grade 12, and without showing that this have affected them in a negative way. And that's because they were close to the churches, close to their faith, and got strengthened by the faith that we all share together with them.